It's new, it's refreshing, it's life-giving. Make a date with John Kpikpi from City of God Church on the Rebuilding the Nations program.
Love is laying down your lives for somebody else. The overall goal of discipleship is to make people to become like Jesus.
Rebuilding the Nations, an opportunity to restart your life, your marriage and your family, our churches and our nations on the sure foundation of God's truth. Rebuilding the Nations, ever challenging but refreshing.
Hello viewers, my name is Kujo Seneja and I would like to welcome you to another special edition of Rebuilding the Nations. Over the last few weeks, Dr. John Kpikpi has been bringing to us great teaching about marriage, doing marriage God's way. We have learned about God's plan or vision for marriage. We've learned about the foundations of building a good marriage. We also learned about how to get your marriage going, even how to resolve conflict in marriage and how to build a grace-filled home. Last week we brought to you news about the launch of a new book written by Dr. John Kpikpi, The Marriage House. This book, we believe, is going to transform marriage in our nation. We believe that in the next few years we're going to see a new culture being formed in Ghana, in West Africa, in Africa, and indeed the rest of the world, where people are going to be taught how to do marriage according to God's master plan. In this book, John Kpikpi helps us see God's blueprint for a secure and happy marriage. The book is in 3 parts. Part 1 talks about God's vision for the marriage house, or the vision for the marriage house. And then part 2 talks about laying the foundations for the marriage house. And then in part 3, he looks at raising the structure. It's an excellent, excellent book that speaks to every person, right from young children who have a dream of getting married one day, all the way to people who are in a place of, having to decide who to marry, people who are in courtship. And then it speaks about the marriage ceremony as well. So if you're just planning your wedding, you want to know more about even the marriage ceremony, there are some really, really deep insights in this book that will help you. Thought-provoking, but foundational truths that will make a difference in how nice, how happy, how secure your marriage is going to be. And for those who are already married, maybe you've been married for 25 years, 50 years already, there's still a lot here for you. The nice thing about the marriage house is that no matter what you have built so far, you can get back to the foundations, dig out what is wrong in the foundations, and then put in the right foundations, unlike our physical buildings, where it will be really difficult to do so. I really want to recommend the marriage house to you. But now I would like you to listen to some of our friends who have read the book and what comments they have to make about it.
My name is Chris, and I'm a member of City of God Church, and also work as an insurance broker. I was so excited when I heard John has released a new book titled The Marriage House. I was excited when I read the part that talks about building a solid foundation for your marriage. When I read the book about building a solid foundation, I realized building a solid foundation of marriage wasn't about having a lot of money, wasn't about having societal status. The book helped clear a lot on my mind. Reading the book, I realized you don't need all that to have a sustainable marriage or to have a wonderful marriage. For you to have a sustainable marriage, you need to build that on Christ Jesus. I think I've found what I'm going to build my marriage life on. And I'm no more worried about having a lot of money to get married. I'm no more worried about marrying from one tribe or the other. I'm no more worried about having societal status. I'm so excited about this news. It's exciting, and I'm happy this book is out.
Hello everyone, my name is Teresa from City of God Church. I work with PRAD, National Archives. I'm so excited about this new book, The Marriage House, written by my pastor, Dr. John Kpikpi. It's so exciting. I read a chapter about the marriage ceremony, and I realized that there are some key elements that makes the marriage ceremony very important. He talked about the vows, which is the most important key, where he mentioned that the vows is a symbol of the covenant that keeps the two together. And he also went further to talk about the processes, where he mentioned that the most important thing is when the two exchange vows and a prayer is pronounced over the couples. He also further went on to talk about the dress. Said the dress is not really important. Yes, we have the freedom to choose whatever we want to wear, whether a white gown or pink or whatever. It's the choice of both couples to go for it. And we should also make sure that it shouldn't be something that we can afford. It should be about simplicity. He also went ahead to talk about the wedding cake. It's so interesting. Yes, having a wedding cake is nice, but if you can't afford it, it's not so important. If you can't afford it, you don't have to go for it. You just have to know that the whole marriage thing is about the vows. It's about the two who are getting married. And there's one thing that strikes me. I'd like to quote him. He said that the goal of all that we do should be to honor God and to bring simplicity and freedom to people, so that every marriage gets off to a good start. So I'm so excited to see this book, and I would like to recommend it to everyone, especially to you out there. You really need it. You don't have to be married before you get the book. As you are preparing towards this journey, you need to grab this book and know more about what God has in store for us.
Hello everyone, my name is Olivia from City of God Church. Dr. John Kpikpi is my head pastor. I'm really excited today to talk about his book, The Marriage House. The part that I read that really caught my attention is choosing the right partner. Choosing the right partner is quite important. We have to look out for certain things like character, which is very important. Character traits is the person you have to ask yourself, is this person faithful? When he says A, does he live up to the A? And when he does something, does he apologize? These are some of the things you have to look out for. Choosing the right partner. Does the person rate God above all things, or as he decides, or as he does something, does he consider God, or does he think of God before he does something? So John talks about being excited about the one you have chosen. For instance, if you are a man, you ask yourself, am I excited to be with this lady? Do I always want to be with it? Are you attracted to the person? And if you are a woman too, do you respect that man that much? Are you interested in him, or does he interest you in any way? And I thought, I thought it's all about spirituality, God, and all that. But it's interesting to know that God is also interested in the one we choose, or he gives us the right to go in for the one that attracts us. In all, I think this book is a must read for everyone, the old, the young, those who are now getting married, and those who are married. It talks about a whole lot. It's a very good book, and everyone needs it. I will recommend the Marriage House for every household.
Hello, my name is Clement, a member of City of God Church and an electrical engineer at Process and Plant Automation Limited. I'm super excited to be one of the few people to read John's book at first. I'm really excited by that because I can relate so much, to the book. I actually grew up in a family where my mom and my dad were not married together. That means I stayed with a stepdad, and it was very, very challenging. Due to that, I told myself that I'm not going to allow my children to go through what I went through. So I wanted something different, a different form of family. But how to start was a big deal. Looking around, what I watch in movies and what I read in newspaper and what I watch in music videos, it wasn't like I was going to avoid that. But when I got hold of this book, I found this this chapter really, really, really interesting because I believe that it's going to help me like fulfill my dream of having a beautiful family in the future. And John gave it a title, Starting Right. What does it mean to start right? Or what's the process of starting right? Or how can we start right? John mentioned something very, very important here. He said that the marriage only starts after the vows has been exchanged. That means after the wedding. And that is the only time that the couples have the chance to like have sex and have children. I see that to be very like interesting. If people get to read this book and understand the argument John is making and buy into the idea, I think in the future in this country there wouldn't be children who will go through the emotional stress that I went through, and it's also going to reduce a lot of broken homes, which also lead to broken nations, and all that is going to reduce. So I'm urging all young guys, people of my age who are not yet married, to get a copy of this book. I think you will love it. I think this argument is really, really practical, and it's going to give you peace and joy and happiness in your marriage that what you see in the movies can give you.
Hello viewers, I guess you have heard a lot about the Marriage House book, and by now you are wondering where to get a copy to buy. Well, to purchase a copy of the Marriage House book, call Musa, Dr. John Kpikpi's PA on telephone number 0266 080101. I repeat, 0266 080101, or visit the following bookshops: Citrus Bookshop Usu in the McCoffey building on the Oxford Street, and Citrus Bookshop at the Marina Mall, Accra Airport City. You can also get a copy of the book at the Silverbird Lifestyle Bookshop in the Accra Mall. Thank you very much, and God richly bless you.
I'm Isaac, and this is my wife so far, and yesterday was our 5th year in marriage. Wow. And it's a privilege that John has asked us to comment about his book, The Marriage House, because I believe marriage is important on God's heart and God's plans for humanity. And for me, this book summarizes everything about marriage. First, it speaks of the analogy of a house. Before you build a house, there's a plan, and if you want the house to look okay, you have to consult the plan every time. And from the first chapter to the last chapter, speaks volumes of what we want or God wants to see in marriage. And it's shaped our lives, because we've been hearing about his marriage sermons, and this book summarizes all that he's been saying to us, and even more. And we've learned so much from John. I think one aspect of the book which has spoken to me a lot is the chapter on the grace-filled home. And when I heard or read about it, I pasted it near my sink, because I wanted to be checking my grace tank every now and then to know whether it's low or high. If it's low, then it means there's something not going well, and then we'll be having issues at home. And if it's high, it means that all is going well, and then we'll be having peace and love at home. So I think it's a good check. It's a good check for me.
Getting married to Isaac and then joining him in his church, City of God Church, has been very wonderful, because John teaches a lot about marriage, and then coming out with this book now, The Marriage House, is great, because then in one book you can find everything that John has been talking about marriage in the past 5 years that I've been in this church. And having John come out with a book, The Marriage House, is really, really great, because then you have an opportunity to find everything that he's been talking about concerning marriage in one book, and you have the opportunity to go back to it every now and then to sort of refresh yourself, and that's really, really exciting for me. One thing that really stands out in the book for me is the companionship part, because I'm somebody who loves to be in the company of people, and then to find myself being married, and then realizing that God's vision for marriage, key point is companionship, is really exciting, because now I have somebody I can depend on and have with me for the rest of my life and share all the good things in life, including all the bad things. Is really exciting. And I'd encourage everyone to get the book. People who are planning to get married, people who are already married, it's good for everyone. Please get a copy.
Friends and beloved hearing God, that this is a must-have. It's a must-have because I think that it contains stuff or information or knowledge that would inject a daily dose of freshness into your marriage. I think you should get it as a gift for friends who would be married, for people who are married, for counselors, because in it there's everything.
What excites me most is the very title of the book, Marriage House. And a house is a beautiful thing. Anyone that has a house builds it with beautiful doors and adds keys to it. And I believe very strongly that the writer makes it in a way that beautiful things are in this beautiful house. And until people use the keys to open the doors of this marriage house or the house, beautiful things that are inside the various rooms cannot be discovered. So I believe that if everybody will use the truth or the blueprints that the writer has used to open the various doors, then many will discover the beautiful things, which are the truths that the writer has mentioned in the book. And if you open these doors with the beautiful keys, you will really find the beautiful things or the truths that are in the rooms. And then, if you have an open heart to use the things that you have found in the rooms, you will be able to have a beautiful marriage. Second thing I observed is the chapter he used on dowries. I found it very interesting because I realized that the things that he has listed for the dowries contains very weird things. And it's combined with things, with the Christian things, and then traditional things. Like, what has light got to do with darkness? I have realized that they mention Holy Bible, which is the engagement ring, and they are mentioning hard liquor at the same time. I don't see how these two things can work in the dowry. So I think if people can just leave the bad side of tradition behind and use God's way in instituting marriage, then it will be a very good thing for the young ones who want to enter marriage, and they will not be cut off completely, because we can't just be combining tradition with God's way of doing things. Other than that, we are really combining two things, light and darkness, and to me, it will not work. So people should go back to this beautiful house that has been built and use the keys to open these doors. Then they will find the truths that the writer has put in it and use it for their marriages. And marriages will flourish, and nations will flourish as well.
I think one thing that the book makes clear is that marriage, it's something instituted by God. But the difference is that many people think it's a man-made thing, so they find there are various ways of getting into marriage. And that is why we have all these problems in marriages. But if we will know that it is of God, marriages can work better, and the book is very clear on that. But I would say that whether you are a believer or not, and you intend to enter into marriage, one chapter of the book which is very vital is conflict resolution in marriage. Every marriage has a conflict, call it argument, misunderstanding, and the way to resolve it is what will make the marriage continue, or the marriage will break down. And we Christians have an added advantage that we know there is a third person in the marriage, and that is God. And the book makes it clear how we can resolve these marriages using God's way. And because God really made it that the people in the marriage should live in close relationship with Him, this relationship was broken during the fall. And so to get a good marriage, you must try to get closer to God, and you can only get it from God's word. And so resolving marriages must use God's word, and the book is very clear on that. And so my recommendation will be that this book is a must for anybody who is thinking of marriage. But even if you don't have time to go through the whole book, read the chapter on conflicts of marriage, and you'll be blessed immensely.
Hello, good evening. My name is Mensa Senyaja, and I'm here with my wife, Rosemary Senyaja. We've been married for 6 years. I'm really excited to be part of this exciting book launch. Pastor John Kpikpi has been our own pastor for so many years now, and we have learnt under his wings all his teachings that he's put together in this book. We also had a special privilege of having him and his lovely wife, Alex, to be our counselors in preparation towards our marriage. And they were fantastic. Reading through this book, it just brought back memories of all the weeks of counseling we had with them. And I think if I had this book before the marriage, it would just be a copy of everything they told us and shared with us, all the experiences they shared with us over the years and over the weeks in which we were in the counseling. I want to encourage everybody to buy this book and use it, not just buy and keep on the shelf. Use it in preparation for great marriages, and also when you're married, you can read it. In fact, going through it again, it was refreshing. It just felt like going through, having a whole refresher training all over again, and sharing stories of other people and other case studies. I think it was very encouraging. Rosemary, do you have anything to share about this?
Well, as he already said, the things in the book have been things that we've grown up with. And I've been surprised to find out that talking with friends and people outside City of God Church, they have found some of the teachings quite provocative. I'd like to say that some of the teachings will provoke you, some of them would challenge the mentality that you've already had about marriage, but if you subject yourself to it, you'll find out that it really does work. There's a part in the book that talks about us and talks about our engagement without a dowry. And this is just to say that it was really true that afterwards the family came back and asked for the dowry, because even though they were present at the ceremony, they could not believe that maybe secretly drinks or something was presented. So they came back to ask for it, and we had a hard time convincing them. Well, my dad had a hard time convincing them that he really did not ask for a dowry.
One other provocative thing which many very experienced Christians will still struggle with would be the issue of money. People are willing to share their lives together, share their hearts together, share their good times together, but they can't share money together. And over the years, I found it strange from people, but I think it's because of the teachings we have. In the marriage house, you'd find some detailed teaching about God's plan for living together as husband and wife. Everything should be put together, including money. And when you do that, in my personal experience, it actually helps you and makes you even accountable to each other. It helps protect each other, and you can take wise decisions and good counsel. You'll find all the details in the book, and I would encourage you to do it. It's nothing strange. It just really gets you together even more as a couple.
And talking about money, because it's really, really, really important. We've had access to each other's money, and for him, he's had a lot of people finding it strange that he would allow his wife to have access to his money. And definitely you would disagree on how to spend it. But I think we have what we call the veto power, which he can use once a while. And so from the book, we learned that when there is a stalemate, you should submit to that. And so far, we have to say that it's been good. I'd like to encourage everyone to buy this book. This book is for people who are yet to get married, those who are already married, and even counselors will find great teaching points in this book with which they can counsel people who are about to get married or who are already married. It's a great reading tool, and it's a great manual for marriage, and we'd like to encourage everyone, no matter what stage of the timeline you are, you will find something useful in this book for you.
That's The Marriage House, God's Blueprint for Secure and Happy Marriage.
Hello viewers, I guess you have heard a lot about the Marriage House book, and by now you are wondering where to get a copy to buy. Well, to purchase a copy of the Marriage House book, call Musa, Dr. John Kpikpi's PA on telephone number 0266 080101. I repeat, 0266 080101, or visit the following bookshops: Citrus Bookshop Osu in the McCoffey building on the Oxford Street, and Citrus Bookshop at the Marina Mall, Accra Airport City. You can also get a copy of the book at the Silverbird Lifestyle Bookshop in the Accra Mall. Thank you very much, and God richly bless you. Hello viewers, I guess you have heard a lot about the Marriage House book, and by now you are wondering where to get a copy to buy. Well, to purchase a copy of the Marriage House book, call Musa, Dr. John Kpikpi's PA on telephone number 0266 080101. I repeat, 0266 080101, or visit the following bookshops: Citrus Bookshop Osu in the McCoffey building on the Oxford Street, and Citrus Bookshop at the Marina Mall, Accra Airport City. You can also get a copy of the book at the Silverbird Lifestyle Bookshop in the Accra Mall. Thank you very much, and God richly bless you.
City of God Church is part of New Frontiers, a worldwide family of churches on a mission together to make disciples, raise up leaders, plant churches, and transform our nations. We meet every Sunday in Ashale-Botre, Accra. Come, let's worship Jesus together. God bless you, and see you soon.